The journey through the monastery was, to put it gently, bloody awful. My pain had shifted. It wasn't as sharp anymore, but deep. A heavy, throbbing ache that pulsed with every beat of my heart, pulsing from my eye socket through my skull. Moving made it worse. Each step sent a wave of pressure up the side of my face. My balance was off, everything tilting slightly to the right. And I had to catch myself more than once, as nausea surged as I walked. Dhalâra walked beside me, watching me, her hands lightly steadying me each time I faltered. I wanted to snap at her and tell her to keep her hands to herself. But I couldn't deny that her help was reassuring. The last thing I wanted was to pass out and tumble down the stony stairs. Morning light streamed through the ashen clouds above, casting long golden beams across the myriads of temple houses. The glare forced me to squint, the movement making the ache behind the bandages bloom sharper. It felt like tears filling it up, but I knew it couldn't be true. No tears would ever again gather in that side of my pretty face. Without the night shadows clinging to every corner, the forbidden temple felt stranger somehow. Less terrifying, but no less unsettling. Now everything was visible, too visible. Vines crept along the walls of the buildings, twisting over cracked stone and climbing toward the rafters. Roots curled between floorboards, knotting themselves into chaotic patterns, as if the structures and the growths were locked in a slow, silent battle. As we passed one large black building, I glimpsed a fresco through the open door painted along one of the walls within. The image stopped me in my tracks. The mural showed a spider, immense and elegant, its long, jointed legs tangled in webs spreading outward like veins. But it was the upper body that stole my breath. A woman's, proud and slender, draped in silk that revealed more than it hid. Her gaze was seductive, penetrating, locking onto mine as if daring me to look away. For a moment, I completely forgot that she wasn't real. Her blood-red lips were curled in a predatory smile, as if she knew every secret I'd ever keep. A strange thrill coiled within me, something caught between emotions of desire and abject horror. Who is that supposed to be? Dhalâra followed my gaze to the mural.
That is Vexlanka, the abyssal princess of lust and lies, mistress of murder, the twilight temptress, empress of Arakul. She is the youngest of the Erden, and mother to many of Zarevan Daral's children. According to Azhûra, half of them were born as a result of her allure.
The grandeur of the words contrasted with Dhalâra's matter-of-fact tone. I tore my gaze away, pressing forward. Dhalâra following attentively. The path leveled out as we reached the square just beneath Azhûra's sanctum. The air felt thinner here, carrying the crisp scent of morning dew. At the corners of the square stood the gardens, 4 of them, each tucked behind iron gates, wrapped in twisting vines and shadowed beneath ancient trees. 3 gates stood slightly ajar, as if welcoming anyone bold enough to enter. But the 4th gate, it was sealed, just like before. Roots coiled tightly around its bars, the metal blackened with age. A warning, perhaps. I caught myself wondering again why this garden alone was locked away. Ezra had told me not to speak of it, which only made the question gnaw harder. Was it too sacred even for these fanatics? Too holy? Too forbidden? The thought lingered, wrapping around my brain until another idea followed on its heels, far more unsettling. What if the gate wasn't sealed to keep people out, but to keep something inside? The notion made my skin prickle. I glanced toward Dhalâra, hoping for some small hint in her expression. But her face gave away nothing. She didn't even meet my eye, just looked at my cheekbones as if lifting her gaze to meet mine would turn her to stone. I'd noticed it before, that strange, half-averted stare, almost like she was nervous. But what did she have to be nervous about? She was the one with the sword and the war paint, not me. Arms firm with muscle, her white-painted face unreadable. "Why do you do that?" I asked. Her brow furrowed, her gaze still drifting just beneath mine, skimming over my features without ever quite landing.
Do what?
You never make eye contact. Don't you know it's rude? Dhalâra paused. A flicker of uncertainty crossed her face.
I don't know. I've never thought about it.
It didn't sound like a lie, but it wasn't exactly an answer either. Her eyes shifted briefly toward mine, brushing them like a passing breeze before slipping away again. What a weird girl. She wasn't like any other ash elf I'd met. Definitely nothing like Ezra or Azhûra. Softer, for sure. Prettier. But oh, so strange. I wondered, briefly, if she didn't get along with others. The thought sat oddly with me, stirring something in my chest I couldn't quite name. "Whatever," I said, turning away. I stumbled across the square to the gate leading into the forsaken garden. Dhalâra followed, her stride gentle. I stopped before the entrance and peered in. Despite the daylight that cracked through the clouds, it was dark inside the garden. The gate hung open, creaking softly in the morning breeze. I swallowed hard, my mind drifting back to the twisted branches and the unsettling statue of Legina I'd seen there. Somehow, the memory of it felt heavier now, like it carried more weight than I was ready to face. Why had I decided to come here again? It was as though I decided to enter the land of the dead willingly. A tremor of fear went through me.
Are you sure about this?
Dhalâra asked.
Is this truly where you want to be?
Yes.
Would you like me to come with you?
I scoffed. Are you out of your mind?
No.
Of course I don't want you to come with me. A silence fell upon us, rising like tension. Before Dhalâra broke it.
Very well.
Her voice was steady, but a trace of something hovered on her face. Disappointment, surely. She was upset because I denied her the satisfaction of carrying out Azhûra's wishes. But then I looked closer, noticing something else in Dhalâra's strange half-gaze. Something quieter, something harder to place. Was it sadness? But why? It made her seem more... I don't know. Real. Like a person with a heart and emotions of her own, hopes and fears and all kinds of feelings moving inside her, making her somebody. The realization was unsettling, obvious, in a way, but also perplexing. It was as if the underlying meaning of the simple truth was revealing itself to me, like something rising from a lake. And as I kept looking at her, it was as if her sadness had slipped into my chest, transferred from her to me, as if through the air, like magic. Yes, I felt sorry for her. It wasn't the first time I'd felt that way about someone, surely, but I'd be lying if I said it was familiar. It made my heart ache. And honestly, I had no idea what to do with it, where to put it. So I spat it back out. Why are you still here? Leave.
I will,
said Dhalâra, her gaze dropping to her hands. Her scarred fingers smoothed the edge of her sleeve, slow and deliberate, as if rearranging invisible creases.
If you ever need anything.
I won't. She pressed her lips together, the smallest twitch betraying the sting of my words. For a moment, I almost took it back. Seeing her like this, it almost made me want to say sorry. I didn't. And it left me hollow. Without looking up, she turned, and something new spread through me, like cold dread rushing in, filling the void. It froze the knot in my chest, chilling the ache in my throat. I parted my lips to speak, but the words were frozen solid. Finally, Dhalâra glanced back, offering me the briefest of stares. But neither of us said nothing. Then she turned for good and walked away, the hem of her robes whispering softly across the stones. I watched her go, my insides growing colder every step she took. Next thing I knew, I was alone. I stood there, frozen at the edge of the garden, staring across the square to where Dhalâra had disappeared down the path, toward the lower tiers of the temple complex. The spot where she'd vanished seemed to pull at me, as if hoping I'd follow after her. I let myself stand there a little longer, watching the empty space where she had gone. She might come back, I thought. She did not. Fine, I scoffed. Just leave me then. Slowly I turned toward the garden gate. It loomed before me, half open, the iron bars knotted with twisting vines. Beyond it lay nothing but shadows, dense and unmoving, swallowing the pale morning light. Even though the gate hung ajar, the darkness inside felt sealed, heavy. The ache in my throat swelled, and I swallowed hard, but it only lodged deeper, rising again as soon as I forced it down. My hand hovered at the gate for a second, fingers brushing the cold iron, and I drew a breath, shallow and shaky. Then I stepped inside, and the garden took me in. The air inside was thick and damp, clinging to my skin like a shroud. Twisted branches arched overhead, their gnarled shapes fighting against the light that struggled through the clouds. Underfoot, the ground was soft with rot, the faint purplish glow of the mushrooms tangled among the roots. After everything I'd been through, I had thought that being alone would feel like a relief. It didn't. Instead, the silence wrapped itself around me, tight and stifling, pressing down on my chest until it was hard to breathe. I followed the narrow path through the trees, my steps echoing strangely in the stillness, until the clearing opened before me. There, just as I remembered, stood the statue of Legina. Her antlers reached skyward, black and twisting, and her raven wings folded behind her. I sank to the ground beneath her gaze, pulling my knees to my chest. The cold earth pressed against me, sending little tremors through my body. I palmed my face, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, I let the tears stream.